Hi guys, it's me again. KO Cool, what's up, y'all? Hey, before I start, like, subscribe, all that cool stuff, because it's free, and it's how you can support my baby little channel. So, just a little community service announcement here. My name's KL Cool. I'm a koala, and I usually do pop culture videos, predominantly Britney and Kanye, but I'm branching out in 2023, and I'm going to be looking at true crime. And this will be my inaugural video on the Idaho 4. But I'm not going to say allegedly, all of that the whole way through. So I'm going to say it now. Everything I say is alleged. This guy is innocent until proven guilty. Okay? I will not be repeating this every time, so don't go mental in my comments going, yeah, didn't say alleged there. Well, he is. Across the board, this whole video, obviously there are some facts that I've put up. They are documents that I have located on the interwebs. But regardless, everything is alleged. Everything is my opinion. Everything is up in the air. So let's go. The whole world is in shock that this guy is the guy that unalived 4 young, beautiful lives at uni. They were living in the same house. Yeah, I've hummed and hawed about making this video, but I studied also criminology at uni. Justice administration, majoring in criminology and psychology. It was a double degree. And I just thought, I'd like to add my 2 cents into this. Now, I'm not going to go into every part of the case because it's been going on for nearly 7 weeks. But when he was arrested and I saw his face, I did actually wig out a little bit because I was like, oh my God, he's got all the traits of the dark triad. And the dark triad, generally, if they're in the high degree of it, there's all levels, but if they're in the highest degree, they are generally going to be killers, serial killers. And these are their traits. They actually have a facial trait of someone like this. And he looks very much like Ted Bundy and American Psycho, who's not, it's fictional, but this is why American Psycho looks like this guy, because the facial traits is where it's at. I don't have an answer to that. I'm not a scientist. But yeah, slim face, well-groomed brows that don't meet in the middle, fuller lips, distinct jawline, arched eyebrows, slim nose, smooth skin, healthy skin tone. He has all of that. So also what I'd like to add is, see the gap between the end of his nose and his lip. They quite often have a larger top lip as well. That's not in that there. He basically does fit the profile of someone that looks like this. And that's why the profilers that were all coming out in the beginning, the FBI profilers, all the different people, Carfendaffer, I love saying her name. But yeah, they all said that there's going to be a man late 20s to 40. Correct. He's going to be white. He's going to be at least 6 foot, slim build. Correct. So they actually got a lot of points correct because we don't know the in-depth story of all the evidence, everything about the crime scene. We've been given snippets. They knew a lot more, and they knew that it was a very professional job. They said the person wasn't sloppy, and he wasn't. And it basically boiled down to finding that car that was spotted driving past at 3 a.m. on a policeman's body cam. He was arresting some teenagers in the town, and people saw it on the body cam go past. So that is very big clue. And he thought, and I'll tell you one thing about these guys, they think they're smarter than everybody. They actually believe that no one will catch them. And that's why they're quite brazen in what they do. And I honestly, in watching all of this over the last 7 weeks, I was thinking, this guy really does fit the category of a serial. And there has been some stabbings in that area. There was a young couple that was stabbed in their sleep last year. One died, one lived. Similar circumstances. He went into the house, whoever it was, and did it in their sleep. But years back, there was 2 girls that were also stabbed in their sleep. All in this area of Washington State, Moscow. I'll tell you one thing. The one thing that really opened my eyes during all of this, that this TikTok account appeared with this guy explaining that he is a family friend and he has inside information. And I'm going to play it for you in a minute, and you're going to see that this is the TikTok account we're looking at here. What a post to put up on it, hey? But yeah, he explains a lot of things that actually weren't out in the media, that only the killer would know. And he did say that he's a part of one of the families, was one of the victims. They didn't know a lot, but he seemed to know a lot, this guy. I'm going to just show you the room at Washington State University. This is the doctoral rooms. This is where they study. And you can see the guy's reflection during it. Keep your eye on his reflection. He looks pretty similar. There's no confirmation that this is the guy, but when I think about someone who is a dark triad personality, they lack empathy, they lack feelings, they lack a conscience. But also, along with that, they have pretty big egos. And I'm not saying across the board, like they're confident with everything. Like it seems like he has an incel personality, like he wasn't as confident with women, but he was very confident with his own intelligence. And he was pretty smart. I mean, if you're doing a PhD in criminology, well, you're going to be pretty smart. But sometimes that's where you fail, because you think you know everything. Let's have a listen.
On Friday, a man was arrested by the name of Bryan Kohberger for the murders in Idaho, the 4 students that lost their lives in the early morning hours of the 13th of November. But did we know that the whole time this guy was surrounding us? You've probably already heard this. It was on Facebook. This is Bryan Kohberger, putting himself amongst the Idaho murder groups, talking with you all, giving his thoughts and theories on it, whilst pretending to just be another concerned citizen.
Into the quadruple homicide in Idaho. I don't want to be any more specific than that, because I don't want to put anybody in a challenging or contentious situation regarding their continued employment. And I will say what I'm about to tell you is secondhand, but it is from what I believe to be a very reliable source. Again, this can only be considered a rumor, as I don't have firsthand knowledge. I never planned on posting any of this information out of respect for the victims' families. However, now that one of the victims' fathers has released some of the gruesome details himself, I'd like to share some of the investigative theory. As you know, the 2 women were found in the same bed, but with similar wounds. That's what's being reported. That's not exactly 100% true, at least in regard to the fact that they hadn't fallen to sleep in the same bed. One of the victim's wounds were deep gouges that were delivered with extremely aggressive force, so much so that the victim's liver and lungs were destroyed. Here's the theory that's happening. They definitely think it was a man because of the force of the wounds. The person must have been very strong. They think the man came into the room after doing what they did on the 2nd floor. They went upstairs. The person cleanly and quietly unalived the first victim. The second victim awoke and tried to run. They believe that the man possibly grabbed her, and she screamed loudly.
So we're just going to pause for 2 seconds while I tell you to look closely at the screen now, because he happens to actually catch himself on video recording himself. There is Bryan Kohberger talking to us all like he has nothing to do with this crime.
The man then harmed her, and the reason the wounds were of such force, he was delivering it quickly and forcibly to quiet her, which I apologize for how I know it's disturbing, but anyway, how do we know that she screamed? Because 3 individuals reported hearing a scream between 3:45 and 4 o'clock. That's why the police have such a specific time frame as to when the murders occurred, because I don't know if you noticed, but the authorities weren't called the next day until late in the morning, yet they had a very specific time frame when the murder happened. They think the scream is why. And after reviewing video files from the neighborhood, they reviewed security cameras in the area, and they have an audio file I haven't heard it, but I was told that you can clearly hear a loud scream from a female. That scream was recorded at exactly 3:38 a.m. Neighbors say they didn't call the police because they said there's often loud noise coming from the house. I was told that there are parties there all the time. Again, I don't know if that's true, but it's what I was told. The weapon used was a long serrated-edged hunting knife with a fixed blade. The weapon had not been in the house. The person brought it with them and took it when they left. The two victims were on the same bed, not side by side. One victim was found on top of the other. The reason is that the one tried to escape and was grabbed, harmed, and then shoved and fell on top of her friend. That is why there's a lot of blood mixtures at the scene. They're also desperately looking for this white car. The reason being is that it was seen speeding by an A&W gas station. I don't even know what that is, but anyway, again, it could be wrong. I was just told it was seen speeding by an A&W gas station / hangout at 3:45. Now, if the scream was recorded at 3:38 and the car sped by at 3:45, it's a very tight time frame, but it is possible that the person left immediately and rushed and was seen speeding by. Also, the scream may have been what caused the person to quickly leave. That scream could have been what saved the other two roommates' lives. The person knew that they might be detected, so they sped away. Again, this is all just rumor. Take it for what it is. I just pray for these young people. I hope they rest in peace and that their families can find peace after this horrible crime, and I hope that the person who committed it can be brought to justice. Thanks a lot. Hey there.
So that's pretty eerie, isn't it? I mean, imagine if that was him. And I tend to think it was, because this guy is very cocky. This guy. And yes, everyone is innocent until proven guilty, but when you've got the chief of police of Moscow saying, yes, I'm 100%, we have caught the right guy, because DNA does not lie, and that is the biggest problem. Like back when Ted Bundy was doing it, there was no DNA. Now there's DNA, it is a lot harder to get away with it. And this guy had planned it immensely. He was following all the girls on Instagram. He wasn't following Ethan, but I guess he didn't plan that Ethan was going to be staying over there because he didn't live there. Why was he following all the girls? That's a bit odd. More and more is going to come out, and it's going to blow people's minds to the depth that this guy has gone into, because I don't believe he studied criminology to actually become a criminologist. I think he did it to satiate his urge, and he thought, if I study this, I'll hopefully be able to understand why I feel the way I feel, and his feelings were homicidal feelings, and also how could it actually just help me get over that once I understand. But I think the more and more he studied, the more it ramped up that feeling inside him that he wanted to do it. I don't think it started off like that, but I think throughout the studying, it increased, because that urge never would die down in him. And that's why I personally feel he has done this before, because to go in and do that to 4 people, it just doesn't seem like a first timer, because that is a huge job. And to get away with it for that long, I was thinking the whole time that it couldn't be a uni student, one of their friends, ex-boyfriend, all of that, because they would have been very sloppy. And this guy wasn't sloppy. He did not leave a lot of evidence. Anyway, he's been caught because they brought in the FBI, and man, they know what's up. I think it just took a long time going through all the bloods, working it all out, because there was a lot of crossover. And did you remember when he said that, and then Maddie had fallen on top of Kaylee? So that's very difficult to get a lot of blood work done. But the thing is, when he said that, nobody knew that. That's what made my eyes go, who the hell is this fool? You know? And now that it's come out that this guy's been arrested, the reflection in the screen is so similar, it really flipped me out, because I was like, who would make a video like this? And yes, there are a lot of people, when there's a huge crime happen, believe it or not, they like to say that they've done it or be a part of it. It's a weird thing. This guy, I don't know if he wanted to be caught. Most serial don't want to be caught, because then they can't keep doing what they love doing. But that is why there is professionals out there that are way smarter than me. And there is a lot of crime channels, and they are so good at their job. That's why I didn't want to go into the whole lead up, everything, because it would have been an 3-hour long video. It's a really wild story. I am in shock. And by the way, I didn't actually work in this field after I graduated, because I was really disturbed by it. Because when you getting near the end of your degree, you go and do practical assessment. So I worked for 3 months in the prisons. I saw some really bad stuff. And I know you're going to think, oh, bad, as in what just a normal general public person would think. But the thing I found that was bad and scary, and I couldn't stop dreaming about it, I actually suffered from pretty hardcore burnout, is that all the killers, child, all those people that had, done stuff to children, killed people, most of them seem pretty normal. And that is what got to me. That you couldn't tell. Like, if they were your next door neighbor, or if they were a dude walking down the street, you wouldn't think, oh shit, that's a killer. You just wouldn't. And that's what really bugged me. But I did an interview with one guy who had unalived 2 children. He was the nicest guy, so friendly, so happy to talk about anything. But I'll tell you one thing, his eyes were like marbles. They were ice. They had no feeling. Like, they were so dead. And I was just so bugged out by that. I couldn't get him out of my dreams for a while. And that's why, my professor said, look, you just need to take a break. And I was like, yeah, I think I do. And I actually never went back to it, because I had a lot of health issues after it. And I don't know if any of you have had long going on, health issues, that to go back to something as full on and negative as this, I just couldn't face it. But I do have the knowledge. I did study it. I'm not as good as all these, professors you keep seeing on the news talk about it. But yeah, it is a wild world. And let me just say, serial are rare. I know that they're the ones that make the big news. They're the ones that everyone makes movies about and that. But that's just because it is so rare. It's not that common. But this guy, I feel he could be. Look, there's been a lot of stabbings around this area. And that is strange. And they've been females. Guys have gotten the way in a couple. But in general, it's been females. So a few people thought they saw him in the grub truck video. And yeah, that pretty much does look like him, but the eyebrows aren't the same. Those eyebrows, to me, look like they've got the same shape as his, but he's had them waxed. I don't know, to look different. I mean, look at the side by side. The facial structure, the lips, nose, everything looks similar. The only thing that doesn't look that similar is the eyebrows. But because he's looking up, his eyes look different as well. Man, the information that's going to come out about this is going to blow people's minds. And yeah, I am going to start doing more videos like this. As I said, in the new year, I will be doing different topics, because I can't just keep talking about Brittany, because I'm spinning in circles the way she is in the foyer of her house. And we know it's not her. And until they start talking real talk about where she is, I can't keep making videos about the same story every day. You feel me? I mean, I'm not going to stop making them. But I'll probably only make one a week at the moment, because I have so many other interests, and a lot of them are to do with true crime. I need to start doing it because I watch so much. I actually enjoy doing it. That's probably why I enjoy the investigation of the Brittany files, because, she's missing. Kanye's missing. but I need to branch out. And obviously they're not going to be humorous because they're about very serious issues. So don't think you're going to come to these crime videos to have a laugh. Heads up! So let me know if you like crime videos, and I'll keep making more. Anyways, I'm going to love you and leave you, and I will see you at the top. Boy! Good vibes in, and the bad vibes out. You feel me? You dig? Cheers, ballers!
How it real, how it real, feel so real. How it real, how it real, how it real, and that feels so real. How it real, how it real, how it real, feel so real. How it real, how it real, how it real, and that feels so real. How it real.